So you've been watching my videos and you've been hearing me tell you all the benefits of renting to someone that has a Section 8 voucher. And so you're a landlord and you call your property manager and you say, from now on, I want you to find me Section 8 tenants, and it's just not happening. Or they have negative things to say. Or as one of my followers wrote me an email and said to me, they want to buy one of my houses in Detroit, but they can't find a property manager that is willing to rent to people with Section 8, or he's talked to some that kind of gave it away, that they didn't know that much about Section 8. He had done his homework and did a deep dive on my playlist. I've got a lot of videos about Section 8. So what is going on here? Why won't property managers get on board with this idea? And I'll tell you right away why. It's either because it's too much work, or they have a preconceived notion about what Section 8 tenants are like. And I'm not going to go into that part of it because I did just make a video. I'll put a link up here to it about why I do think it is a good idea, especially now, to rent to people on Section 8. In this video, I will tell you who I am, why I have this information in the first place. I'll tell you what about it is too much work, and then I'm going to offer a possible solution for you. So let's get started. I'm Monique Burns. My husband and I buy houses in Detroit, Michigan. We renovate them. We find a tenant. These days, all my followers are wanting Section 8 only, and I understand that. I place a Section 8 tenant and I sell the houses to investors from all over the country and all over the world. And no, you don't have to live here if you have a good team here in Detroit. I did used to have a property management company from 2015 to 2020. And a few of those people right now are ready to sell their houses that we renovated. These were all houses that my husband renovated, and we got them up to code at that time. And they don't all have Section 8, but there's some really good deals. I priced the houses to match the rental amounts. So definitely check out my website if you're interested at all in becoming an investor. And I do know from being a property manager how much work it is to have a Section 8 tenant. Quick thing, if you want to just jump to the part you care about, use the chapters line below. It's also really helpful to me if you like and subscribe. It helps me give you more information like this. So that's much appreciated. Thank you. It's true that it is a lot of work to rent to somebody on Section 8. And here is a thing that I have noticed. In 2020, we sold our property management company, and I didn't know how other property managers worked. And I found out that they have a system for placing tenants that is not as labor intensive as what I was doing. So I would list a house for rent, the tenants would call, and I found that the people that had Section 8, if they were new to the voucher, didn't have a great comprehension of if they could even rent my house or not. They would have a number in mind, thinking they could rent a house for some big high number, and it really wasn't true. I've made other videos on how I sort through this, and I've even given you some live calls of how I sort through these questions with tenants. And I spend a lot of time, even today with just a few houses that we flip a month, I'm on the phone a lot sorting out vouchers with people. Even people that have had vouchers for a long time don't seem to comprehend if their voucher will cover the rent that I'm asking for. So I have strategies of the way that I talk to them, and then I will reach out to the Section 8 office before I even go through their application, because why bother? So other companies are able to get Section 8 tenants, but I'm always questioning, what took you so long? I mean, they're spending 2-3 months to find a tenant, and I'm in the house flipping business, so as we're getting done renovating, I'm already working on this, getting a tenant. And thanks to my YouTube channel, I can do that, because I say, just go look at the other houses I've rented, and they line up before the house is even renovated. Or they might take a person and get all the way through the process only to find out after weeks that that voucher amount wasn't even correct. And then the other big sticking point is getting through that inspection. There has to be some expertise, there has to be experience, and it's hard getting contractors these days, especially a contractor qualified to even be able to pass a Section 8 inspection. So they might be saying, oh yeah, I think Section 8 tenants are terrible people and they destroy houses. But really there's other factors involved that is a bit of a challenge for some property managers. They might be telling you, no, like let's say they already started working with you, they might be saying, yeah, that's not a good idea because maybe you're a slumlord. They're not going to come right out and tell you that. I did talk to someone recently who said that he buys houses in Detroit for like 20 or 30 grand less than what I sell houses for, and he wants them all to have Section 8 tenants. And I was like, that doesn't work. How does that work? It doesn't. It's because it doesn't exist. You can't get a Section 8 tenant if you're only into the house for this much money, because it means you didn't do the repairs that the Section 8 people are going to call out, and it's just this whole big losing battle. So that could be a reason that they're telling you, yeah, you can't have a Section 8 tenant. And then they have to work with you more, because then they have to ask you, hey, we got to do all these repairs, and you're like, all these repairs, and you might be a pain in the neck client anyway. They don't want to hear it from you. So that could be a reason that they don't want to do this extra work. And then there's communication issues going on with different Section 8 offices. It's really hard to communicate with them. They're typically very slow at getting back to you. So it's a lot of extra follow-up because you're dealing with a government office. I would say they're not all difficult. There is one housing commission in Detroit, Taylor Housing Commission. It's a favorite of mine. No issues whatsoever. When I get a Taylor housing tenant call me, I'm like, you got the house. I'll interview you later. Not really, but it's very exciting when I do get their tenants. So now you know why it's so hard. Let's go into, well, what can you do about it? Well, having owned a property management company, I know that if a client came to me and they said, I only want Section 8 tenants, I would have to comply. I think when I've talked to a lot of different people, I'm like, I keep telling my property manager I want Section 8, and they're just like, I'm thinking, did you tell them they must? Because there's a difference. Because it's so much easier to not put in a Section 8 tenant, that unless you said, I only want Section 8, you're probably not going to get it, because it's easier. I did have one time when I owned my property management company that I was surprised how many cash paying tenants were coming through, and I went and talked to the supervisor in my office. I said, this is really odd. Why do we have so many cash paying tenants lately? Because one of my big things I really like is Section 8, because you can just count on that money and it helps me sell houses. And she said, oh, I've been telling them no because it's extra work. I'm like, this was my business plan. So it's the other thing, if your property manager is giving you pushback that they really just don't want to do it when you say, I am saying I want Section 8 only, is they don't feel like they're getting compensated for it. You could offer them a bonus, and it would be fair, because you are asking for double, if not quadruple, the amount of work for the same, what they think is the same. You wanted a tenant, I found you a tenant. No, you want me to quadruple the amount of work for a tenant? You got to make it worth it for me. And if you don't offer them some kind of bonus, I have seen that they will get it out of you some other way, because property managers are able to put in fees for things. If they feel that you're not compensating them, they will fee you somehow or another. So it's in your best interest just to offer some kind of bonus. Ask them, what's it worth to you? Find it out for yourself. I hope you found all that helpful and you've subscribed, and watch me every week for more.